So welcome back to Decoy Court. Today we're doing more r/Am I the Antagonist, with today's featured post being, am I the antagonist for being angry that my sister and I have the same hourly rate at my dad's business? So before we get into today's video, I want to make sure you're subscribed down below and joining that Decoy Koi Pond in the comment section by turning on those notifications so whenever a video goes up, you can be the first to know about the drama that's going down. So let's go ahead and get to that story, which is, my dad owns a small manufacturing shop and told both me and my little sister that once we turn 16, we have to come to work after school and some weekends and earn money instead of getting an allowance. Fair enough, I guess. And when I turned 16, I started working out there. My dad said he wanted me to work in the shop because, 1, he wanted me to learn the trade from the ground up in case I wanted to take over the business one day. 2, there wasn't any work that needed my help in the office anyway. I was fine with this and started working in the shop, even though I don't mind it. It is very hard work and I come home every day completely exhausted and covered head to toe in dirt and grime. I don't want to say exactly what it is in case someone knows me here, but it's a trade that is known for wearing down your body over time. My sister recently turned 16 and she started working for my dad as well. She gets to work inside the office, however. Every time I go in the office, all she is ever doing is a menial task like reorganizing a file cabinet just to give her something to do, or is just on her laptop working on homework or on Instagram. It annoys me, but I kind of get it. She's not physically capable of doing the work I do and wouldn't survive a day in the shop. On the other hand, after her first payday, I found out that we were making the same amount of money. I don't know why this surprised me, I just hadn't thought about it yet. It really got under my skin that we make the same amount of money when I'm working my butt off every single day actually, making the company money, and she gets paid just the same just to be there. This all came to head yesterday when I walked into the office after cutting myself to get a band-aid and saw her sitting at the desk with a Dairy Queen Blizzard, watching YouTube. I threw my gear into my locker and walked to my car and went home without saying a word. I told both my parents last night that I refuse to work there anymore unless I earn more money, as I should be compensated for doing more work. Their defense is that she is a girl and can't do the work, so she is doing what she can. Am I the antagonist? So taking the case and rushing it over to Decoy Court because it's not appropriate for me to be doing this case, but I can see where they're super angry about this whole situation where I imagine that OP is a guy and the sister obviously is a girl, so the idea that they're working in a very physically demanding job and getting paid whatever money, it makes sense. Like, they're probably happy with it, but the simple fact that he's only getting angry after he realizes that his sister gets compensated the same amount of money, and now all of a sudden his money isn't enough. I'm never a fan of the whole situation of, you know, you're looking at your plate and, or no, just not even this, the looking at your plate analogy where you're at a job, you're working, you're doing your thing, and then once you realize the new hire that came on is making double your money, then all of a sudden it infuriates you. I'm more of a kind of just lay back, chill out, you know what I mean? Just as long as it's enough for you, it's enough for you. No need to be greedy or whatever. It's just the less you know sometimes the better. But this situation is entirely different because it's his sister, and also the idea that he just physically hurt himself and cut himself open where his body needs to heal and convert protein into skin cells and blood and replenishing his heart and everything. Like, he's feeling actual pain, and he's seeing her in there with the Dairy Queen Blizzard watching DecoyNoise on YouTube like, what's up, bro? Like, damn, that sucks. What happened to you? Why don't you live inside? Why don't you work in the office instead of being out there in dirt and grime, you freaking poser or whatever? I don't even know how I came up with that word, but the simple fact that it does make sense that he's really, really angry at that, and I don't blame him. And the thing is, though, is it wouldn't be out of line for him to go in there and say, hey, look, I want to be compensated fairly. If I'm going to be producing something for the office, cool. I mean, quite possibly, maybe he, like, you know, the Decoy defense is he doesn't realize that, yes, he's working really hard, contributing to the family business, and everything's going well, but then there's his little sister, who's like a kid genius, goes inside the office and says, you guys are doing all your taxes and your accounting just by hand? I have Excel, I have spreadsheets. Like, did you realize that we can take all this stuff, plug it into Excel, go on Fiverr, find some accountant overseas to go ahead and take care of our paperwork? Like, all your tax information, things that was taking mom and dad and their accountant, you know, 6 months out of the year to compile their taxes and their accounts payable and receivable and doing all that. She was able to sit down and say, no, we can take care of that. She took care of 6 months of work in one day, and now she's just putting her feet up. Like, they're getting their money's worth offer her, not work harder, work smarter, which is sad to say. Let's say this is the genuine situation that is occurring. This would be the life lesson saying, hey, you can be working really hard, cutting yourself, being covered to toe, head to toe in dirt and grime. But if you don't learn how to work smarter and contribute better and have a better leverage in a company, you will never be compensated fairly, in my opinion. So this just kind of makes me feel like the whole, the guy that works in the Toyota factory and gets paid like a 1/100th of what, the CEO that knows how to broker discounts on steel manufacturing over in a different country. Like, who's working harder? Probably the guy that's on the manufacturing floor, but they're compensating the other one better. I'm not saying that's a fact. I heavily doubt the Decoy defense is correct right there. I'm just giving an example where they wouldn't be the antagonist, but in the actual Decoy Court, like not Decoy defense, but Decoy Court, my legitimate decision on this is OP, you're not the antagonist. And I'm actually kind of mad at the parents right there. Even though I gave a lot of reasoning as to why that wouldn't be the scenario, my genuine response is the parents should have been compensating him correctly the entire time. I get it with when you have kids, you're giving them allowances. It's all just everybody gets the same amount. It's only fair. You want to be fair, but no, OP, if she's literally just sitting there eating Dairy Queen, watching DecoyNoise on YouTube, I mean, I can see why he's angry. So I'm saying that OP, you are not the antagonist. The parents that haven't realized that OP's out there taking in the trenches, dodging bullets and stuff like that, yeah, they'd be kind of the antagonist for paying them the same, but I get where they're coming from. So we'll take a short break right now. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know in what scenario they would be the antagonist, or if you don't agree with me, or you just want me to kind of calm down now. Like, I record super late at night, so I make it really, really chill and calm when I'm talking right now to be polite to my neighbors, but for whatever reason that makes my stories in the Decoy defense even more insane. Am I going insane because I'm alone in this apartment and just with my cat in the background? I don't know. Let me know, but don't go too hard on me. So let's go ahead and go to the top comments right now, which are: your parents are being sexist by assuming that your skills are entirely based on gender. The pay thing, well, if she was working in the office versus you working in the workshop, you were both working. That's debatable. If she gets paid the same way you do to hang out, drink milkshakes, and watch YouTube, yeah, not cool. Not the antagonist. How long have you been working? It's not strange for employees to ask for raises when they've been there for a while or have improved skills, etc. You can ask for a raise, but you might want to word it more persuasively than, I'm not working because she's not. Pro tip: ask around other competitors, see what people make there when they do what you do. Use that for your argument. And I think that would be just a situation where it's like his parents with an actual boss that isn't your dad, that didn't raise you and change your diapers. You would go and shop around, go on like, glass ceiling or glass door or whatever, and say, what are comparable rates? What's my fair market value with, how many years I've been on, my experience, my trade, and try to negotiate that way. And even possibly if they're not going to pay you your fair market value, you leave the company and go work for a competitor. You can't really do that. You have no like union bargaining chips with your own dad, because then it's just like, oh, you're gonna put your dad out of business and then you don't have a house to go home to. That would be a bad call. So the dad has, he's Scrooge McDucks with all his chips stacked up. But it wouldn't make sense just to say, hey, look, dad, like, I don't feel like it's fair. Like, she doesn't have as much work. I understand we're trying to pay her, but can we compensate me for just the grueling tasks and the taxing nature of the actual physical labor? So I mean, I could see why he needs to have a conversation, but not the whole like, well, I saw on Indeed and I'm actually going to go work for your rival if you don't pay me correctly. That wouldn't be the good move. But the top controversial comment is, everyone sucks here. The she is a girl is BS. However, if you are significantly physically stronger or something, that might be more valid. But talk to your dad like a boss. Are you legally working and paying taxes? You should be. It's not allowed if you're not, but probably functionally better for both of you. Ask about a raise. But this is a job. This is common to get a raise after a year of working, and common not to get a raise unless you ask for it. So go to your boss and say, I think my physically demanding work and experience should be earning me $12 an hour, a 20% raise. But throwing all your gear in a car and just walking out because you don't like your salary that you never discussed is not a mature way to handle things, and will probably cause more issues at home and at work. And the thing is, if this was a regular job and they were throwing a fit and walking off the job, I could see that being a problem. But this was just in front of family, so I see why this was a little bit more permissible. And I don't know how old he is, but I imagine he's more than entitled to be angry at him getting physically cut open and seeing his sister eating Dairy Queen, watching DecoyNoise, and being like, peasant, But OP came back and replied saying, I should have put this in the post, but this wasn't out of nowhere. I had brought it up several times to him and got the same answer. Oh, so that's really messed up. That's new information we only saw in the controversial section where he said he wanted to get paid more and was declined. So they're just taking advantage of him. And I mean, I know the whole thing where, like, you know, they try to, you know, make their daughter into a princess and they're going to give him special treatment, but not at the expense of OP saying, like, you say that I may inherit the company one day, but you're not treating me as if I was, you know, the prince that was promised, where he's going to come over and take the company over later on. He's being treated like just a peasant being paid off the books that doesn't get a fair wage. That's pretty messed up. So it does change it, but I'm still saying that OP, you're not the antagonist. And actually, if anything, this makes your argument stronger, saying, hey, you are entitled to be kind of, I don't want to say throwing a fit, but just being angry at the situation. So that's my thoughts on it. I mean, as we go on, I'm trying new thumbnails, new takes and stuff like that. Like, I wholeheartedly hope that you guys are seeing right now that I play a character. Like, if you go back to DecoyNoise way years, not even years ago, like months ago, it was different. Everything was changing. So I'm just trying to figure out a new way to relate to the audience, make you guys like this content more, make sure you guys are subscribing more often and turning on the notifications so you're watching all that stuff. I believe my channel just gets suppressed now, so being with the notification zones really helps me out. But also, if you could share the video, if you could send the link of this video in particular or just the channel overall to one of your friends or somebody you know, or maybe a Discord channel, a Facebook group, an Instagram post, or whatever it is, if you could post up there, I would greatly appreciate it. But as always, if you made it to the end of the video, please consider liking the video, please consider sharing the video, please consider subscribing to the channel. But as always, just go ahead and put it on autoplay if you don't want to do any of that, and watch the next episode of DecoyNoise coming up next.